Any idea who you're starting Friday night?
Still too early to tell yet. Coach Myers he's wrestling with that a little bit, so I'll probably defer to him.
See if anybody else has anything.
Coach, y'all seem to have always had some short practices. How did that philosophy come about? Where did that start for you?
Well, quite honestly, it started when I was a young head coach when I had long practices, and the late Jimmy Valvano told me that was unnecessary and wasn't good for your team, and that was one of those developmental things as a coach. He always talked about taking care of your players, and especially once you start playing. And it took a while for me to get there, but he always emphasized to me that long coaches are for coaches, they're not for players. And so I try to make sure we do the things we need to do. And this time of year, we try to get through practice, do some repetitions, and stay healthy.
I think it boosts team morale. What does it do for these guys' minds?
Oh, I think that they enjoy the time that they're out here. 4-hour practices is not an enjoyable time. It gets too long. So I think they appreciate and enjoy it. A lot of times we'll do fundamentals, but we still try to be quick. It's just one of those things that, over the years I go back to when I was a young head coach and what Coach V had told me, and he was very successful. So you can't argue with my teacher at that point.
First time y'all done in and out in a while was over there. What did you see from those guys?
we hardly knew how to get it in. It's one of those things. But that's just another part of the game. Like in Major League Baseball, they very rarely take in and out. And we try to get our ground balls and get our work during batting practice. And it's just it's another thing that we do in baseball. We're creatures of habit in baseball, and we sometimes do too much. And that's something that we've eliminated.
What about having a couple extra days, being in the winner's bracket? How does that help your ball club?
Well, I don't know if it does help us necessarily, but we'll find out. I think it helps us get our legs under us a little bit. Everybody's kind of anxious when they get here. When we get here, there's a lot of emotion, and now that's been taken care of. We won a couple of games, and it rests a couple of pitchers for us, although we haven't used very many guys, and you still got to play good baseball when the bell rings on Friday.
They always talk about guys being big-time coaches. You seem to be pushing all the right buttons right here. In terms of the looseness of the ball club to where you pencil the guys in the lineup.
Well, I don't think that, certainly for me, it's not about the decisions I make and being a big-time coach. It's about players that perform. I've heard Coach Spurrier say many times, you got to have playmakers, and that's what it's all about between the lines. You got guys that can come up with a big hit or a big play or pitching performance, and that's what it's all about.
So many times we talk about timely hitting. You guys seem to be getting great timely defense from the regionals, super regionals, and now here. When you needed that double play, it seems like you keep getting it.
Well, it has been the case. There's times you go through a season, it seems like you can't get any hits or you can't get a 2-out hit, and it's part of baseball. But you just have to keep pushing along in this game. You have to respect it. You can't try to do too much. You have to handle adversity because you're going to have some. And we had some in our first game, the first inning against Texas A&M, and we were able to overcome it. But this game is challenging, and the minute you play against it, it's going to bite you. So we just tried to play it the right way, respect it, and it's been good to us for a large part of this year. We've played a lot of games now, and our pitching defense has been good, so it's worked out well.
I asked you if you expected Bradley's performance on Sunday night. Now, having seen it for 2 games, is this where you thought he might get back to?
No, I really didn't. I didn't expect him to be as effective as he is right now. It's been a long time, and he had a serious injury. He missed, I guess it was 27 games or so. I thought he could play. I thought he could play defense and maybe be a contributor from that standpoint. But I thought he was going to be extremely uncomfortable swinging the bat. But it just hasn't appeared to be the case. He's looked like a guy that really never missed any time. It's been amazing to me.
What is it about Scott Wingo that makes him so good defensively? And the commentators are saying he gets the ball out of his hand really quickly on the turn him.
Well, I think it's a number of things. I think it's his energy, his passion for the game, and he works at it. I don't know if you noticed him today, but he took ground balls endlessly today. He has a lot of fun. He's working at it, but he has a lot of fun, and he's done it for so long. It becomes baseball's habit. If you work at it and have some ability, you become better, and that's what he's done. He's a special player defensively. He certainly had a good year offensively as well.
Someone was saying that you don't really like it in practice when he makes those plays, but that little flip, but when it works in the game, I guess it's okay.
Well, I don't know that he had an option the other night. That ball up the middle. I frown on unnecessary plays, but I don't think he had an option. That was the only way he was going to be able to make that play, and it worked out great. But he likes to mess around a little bit at practice sometimes. have fun with it. I guess it's like basketball, guys going behind their back or between their legs. You don't necessarily think you need to do that, but they like to do it sometimes in practices. And he has fun out there, but he works at it.
What are you and Jerry talking about regarding your Friday night start?
Well, I mean, it's we're a couple of days away, and number one is Roth ready to go. If he is ready to go, how do you use him? Do you use him now, or do you wait and see if you win, you lose, you use him then? Do you get to use him twice? I mean, all those things come into play. Are we going to play straight through? We're going to have a rain day. I mean, it's a battle, but certainly Roth has been our best guy. You want him out there as often as you can. So that's the thought process of getting him back out there. But we just haven't made a decision.
So the number one thought right now, Roth, it all starts with him for Friday.
Well, it's I guess you could maybe say that. You could look at it that way, and he's probably going to be ready. I don't know that we'll do it at this point, but from sitting where we are, if you're going to try to win the next game, do you want your best guy out there if he's available, or do you hold him? I mean, some teams will say, well, you got a mulligan, you can lose a game and go to the next game, but do you want to do that? I mean, we got to make that decision.
If it's Virginia and they're throwing Holston, would that influence your decision?
Probably not. I mean, I know that sometimes you look at your opposition and matchups, but that's not really the way we do things around here. Maybe we should once in a while, but we really don't. Roth threw 124, 25 pitches the other day. That's a factor, but more than likely he'll feel well, and that's a decision we're going to have to make.
What about Neff? Looked like he had a pretty good day in the cage. You thinking anything else about your lineup right now?
Well, not so much, and we don't know exactly who we're going to play. I mean, we've got to just try to be as prepared as we can. Last night, pretty good lineup out there. Jake had a good at bat, and our outfield was good. Just a really well played game, other than losing the pop up in the twilight, which normally I'd be very upset about something like that. But I couldn't see the ball either. I mean, it was a time of day that's very difficult, and it's hard to get mad at your players when I didn't see it either. So it's part of the game.
When you're talking about Jackie a minute ago. He's had a hit in every NCAA tournament game in his career except for one. What does that tell you about him in terms of his performance on the big stage?
Well, I said last year, when we got here, he's always been a good player, but it's almost like that he relished this environment. He's a special player, he's a special person. I hope that he can stay healthy and has a great career in the big leagues. He'll be a tremendous asset to an organization in the clubhouse, in the media, for his teammates. He's got a bright future ahead of him, and this is fun for him. A lot of people, would take it as pressure. He enjoys this. He seems to do well when it's most difficult.
How many times a day do you say heightened awareness?
Probably more than my players want to hear it, but that's something that I've learned along the way, and I believe in, especially in this game. If you look at the history of baseball, a lot of things happen in the first 3 innings. Why is that? You play 9. Well, heightened awareness disappears a little bit. So, I think a lot of coaches have had an influence on me. Coach Burton certainly was one at LSU that taught me a lot. I spent 2 summers with him with the Olympic team, and that was one of the things that was most important to him is you have to continue to play this game with tremendous awareness, and I bring that up all the time.
Are you happy with this first time you've had to deal with the 2 days to get ready before you play again? Today is day 1. Are you happy with the way your players approach today and the way they're keeping their minds on the business?
Yeah, I think it was good. We before we came over here today, we went over to the Children's Hospital, had a good visit, and guys were great over there, and they seemed to be, as we talked about after the game last night. We won 2 games, that's great, but that's not exactly what we came here to do. We're going to try to win more than that, and it's all about perspective and getting your rest and doing things you're supposed to do. And I don't see any reason that, regardless of what happens in the next few days, our guys approach things as good as you can approach it, I think, at this level. And you talk about the maturity, guys that have a little bit of fun, but when the bell rings, they answer it. So, I love that about this group. And there's some maturity here. There's some leadership going on. And sometimes you think that, they're not very serious, but they know when to be serious, and they know when it's okay to have fun.
On the same line, how would Ray Tanner have responded to the beach ball stuff 10 years ago compared to last night?
I would have either put a stop to it or I would have gone inside. But, It's all good. It's I guess it's part of the game now, right? No, I guess I was cut from a little bit different cloth, but that's okay. These guys are teaching me. They're working with me. They're very patient with me. So,
what has Brian Busher meant to this team this year?
Just been a tremendous influence, not only from a coaching standpoint, a guy who played and played at this level. He was in the College World Series. He's played in the big leagues. He's been around a lot of great players. I think he gets immediate respect. But, you know, he was a student athlete as well. He came back, he finished school. He's been there, done that, and they know that. So, and plus his demeanor is as good as it gets at this level. I hope he can stay in the coaching profession. You know, with the situation that we have in NCAA, it's hard sometimes to break in. But he's been a great influence on this team without a doubt. I mean, I've watched him work with players when they have adversity, when they fail offensively. He's been there for them. He understands it, and they understand that he knows what he's talking about. So he's been outstanding for us.
Do you see the guy who has the earmarks of being a good coach?
Without a doubt. I hope he can stay in it. With his position, you know, we're not able to bring him back next year unless I have a job opening or something on my staff. But he would be an outstanding coach, and I've shared that with some other coaches around, you know, around the Southeast. So I hope he gets a chance to stay in the game.
Like you said, you wanted to get Rev's feet wet, but I know you had Taylor out there dealing. Can you talk about just the discussion in the dugout last night with that going on?
Well, you know, they had 3 lefties in there, so we wanted to get him in there to match up. But you know, Taylor was getting outs. I mean, he was throwing good pitches. He was getting some easy outs out there. So just didn't want to mess with it. Virginia's an explosive team, the number 1 in the country. So you know, you don't want to experiment. We wanted him out there, but we wanted him in a situation that was important. So we got him up in the bullpen a couple of times, but never used him.
What does it mean to you to have some recruits come out here and be a part of this experience?
You know, what it means is they love the game. I mean, that's what it's all about. I've always said, you give me a bunch of guys that like to be at the ballpark, I'm going to have a good team. And you know, that's, you know, some of the guys that have shown up here at the World Series, or they come to our games in the spring. Those are the guys you want to play. I mean, it's not the guy that, you know, maybe is the best combine guy or the guy that has the most velocity. It's the guys who want to be at the ballpark. They're going to win. They're going to play hard, and you're going to get a lot out of them. So that's exciting. It's just like before we left to come out here, we had the little guys in camp. They're running around having a blast, and I was hanging around on the field. I love that. I mean, I was just walking around. These guys are sliding. They're having a great time. It's 95 degrees. That's what it's all about. And if you're a baseball player, you know, you're a gym rat in basketball. You want to be out on the field, and that's exciting. And those are guys you want in your program.
And a guy like Grayson, who's probably going to have to play a lot next year, what does it mean for him to be out here in this environment and see where you want to get to as a player?
Well, that's why he's out here. He wants to be here between the lines instead of outside the lines, and he's one of those guys. He goes to games all the time. I mean, whether you know, the closest game sometimes in Columbia, he'll go watch somebody else play if he's not playing himself, and that's exciting. It gives him a taste of what this is all about, and hopefully in the very near future he'll be wearing a uniform here.